Help me, Bob, I'm bully in the alley. Way, hey, bully in the alley. Help me, Bob, I'm bully in the alley. Bully down the Shinbone now. Sally is a girl in Shinbone Alley. Way, hey, bully in the alley. Sally is a girl that I fly clearly. Bully down the Shinbone now. So help me, Bob, I'm bully in the alley. Way, help me, Bob, I'm bully in the alley, bully down the Shinbone now. I found myself out on the trail, way, bully in the alley. Found myself, which I'm so real, bully down the Shinbone now. Oh, help me, Bob, I'm bully in the alley, way, bully in the alley. Help me, Bob, I'm bully in the alley, bully down the Shinbone. To the angel ain't way, hey, bully in the alley. Kicked up the door, the walk right in, bully down the Shinbone now. So help me, Bob, I'm bully in the alley. Way, bully in the alley. Help me, Bob, I'm bully in the alley. Bully down the Shinbone now.
Good morning, everyone. Hope you're all having a wonderful day today. Today, we're going to be talking about the LAPG low-vis plate carrier. But before we get into that, I do need to thank the sponsor of the channel and the video, and that is, of course, Gun Deals. If you don't know, Gun Deals is an excellent website that points you in the direction of some of the best deals in the industry. No pun intended, but they actually do have links to just about everything within the industry, and they don't buy or sell anything. Most importantly, they don't take your money. Once again, they only point you in the direction of some of the cool stuff that you might want to get your hands on within the industry. So if that's of interest to you, go ahead and check them out. Once again, that is gun.deals, and thank you to those guys for helping me out. Now, if you want to help me out personally, you can, of course, like, share, and subscribe. And if you're so inclined, go ahead and check out my website where you can find the Mark II upper receiver. These are shipping now. These are complete upper receivers, ballistic advantage barrel, AO precision BCG, $400 shipped. Now, unfortunately, they don't come with the $4,000 ZCO optic that you see on this one right now. This is a zero compromise optic, 5 to 27 first focal plane that was actually lent to me by a very kind Subscribe Star member. Now, did I mention that I have a Subscribe Star? Basically, you send me a couple bucks a month. It's a pro to a Patreon. I send you some additional content, get you entered in some cool giveaways, and you can even send me some cool stuff to review. Now, with all that out of the way, we can go ahead and get into full disclosure on the LAPG low-vis plate carrier, or as I'm going to refer to it for most of this video, as their lightweight plate carrier. Now, full disclosure, they did send this plate carrier out to me. On top of that, they also sent out the Atlas that you see behind me. I have a review of the Atlas on the channel, and also they sent me out, I believe, a flashlight that I reviewed about a year or so ago. I've had the Atlas for about 9 months, and I've had the low-vis for about 6 months, and you have seen them in many, many videos. Now, on top of that, they also have an affiliate link for me. If you purchase something using that link, I make 10% of whatever it is that you buy from their website. They do carry a ton of different stuff. However, I don't need your money, and I don't need that to influence your decision one way or the other, and you should totally know that. One thing about affiliate links in general is that if you go to my website, there's actually a page that shows you all of my affiliates. So if you're like, hey, does John work with so-and-so company? It's listed on there and exactly what I make from each company. And it's kind of an extra layer of full disclosure. So if there's ever anything you see in a video that even if I don't specifically mention it, if you just go check my affiliates, you can see if I'm affiliated with that company and then again showing it on my channel. Now let's go ahead and get into some of the boring specifics about this plate carrier. First thing is that this is made overseas. I believe both the low-vis or the lightweight and the Atlas behind me are made in Vietnam. Now, if that's something that bugs you, that's totally fine. However, for me, I believe that basically all US made nylon products are brutally overpriced, and not just more expensive than overseas nylon, but I do mean legitimately marked up to an insane degree. Now, the base material on the plate carrier itself is going to be 500D Cordura. Now, 500 just corresponds to the strength level of the material, and it's basically the baseline within the industry. You'll see some products rated at 600 or 1000, but again, expect to pay a little bit more for those corresponding increases in strength. Now, the secondary material component, or the main secondary material, of course there's other materials that go into here, is going to be these Hypalon straps up here, which is a very, very thin, very flat, very strong material. It kind of feels like a flexible plastic material, but it's very, very low profile. However, when you put on shoulder pads, that of course kind of ruins the low profile nature of it. I do really like the material as it's extremely lightweight and takes up very, very little space. Now, before I go ahead and put the plate carrier on, I do want to go through each of the individual components, kind of break it down for you and show you guys some of the pros and cons. So here, of course, is the front panel that I took apart from the cummerbund and back panel. These are the Hypalon straps. These are, again, very, very thin, very low profile. However, they are incredibly strong and incredibly lightweight. So I do like that. I get questions about this all the time, but this magazine placard is from Strix manufacturer. This is actually a piece of American-made nylon that is very high quality and not overpriced. So as you can see this right here, this is a triple mag pouch placard. I believe they come in like 5 or 6 different colors. It's a mix of Velcro and elastic, and these ship for like 25 bucks. Now, on the front panel itself, it is mostly covered in Velcro. As you can see, it also has horizontal MOLLE strips, or just hook and loops for your placards, whatever sort of placard that you want to put on here. As long as it has a Velcro backing, it will fit right on here and work just fine. Most of the time for me, I don't feel like I need the extra security of buckles, but if you don't trust just Velcro by itself and you want that added bit of security, or just that interchangeability from all the different placards that you have, from 762 by 39, 556, 308, whatever other placards you want to put on here, because this is of course just going to be compatible with just about everything on the market, because this entire thing up here is Velcro. On top of that, we do have laser cut MOLLE on the top, I believe 6 rows, and then it also has Velcro on the top of that as well. We do have an admin pouch up front if there were certain documents you wanted to store in here. I never used it, so basically I just put the zipper on the inside and left it closed because I don't think I've ever used one of those. So overall, I do think that the front panel is very, very versatile. You can basically do whatever you want with it. You have MOLLE on top, Velcro all over, and of course places to put your buckles so that you can put on any sort of placard that you want. Now, I'm not saying that you should just throw everything on there, but you definitely do have the option to do that. On top of that, this has been basically my most used plate carrier for the last 6 months. So that is days and days of actual range time on top of the countless hours of LARPing with this on in my basement. Now, moving on to the back of the front panel, it looks like we have this very nice mesh material that is going to breathe very well and keep you cool even in some hotter environments. However, it absolutely will not. The first problem that I have with this is that, one, it is very, very soft and very, very thin. So there's no real form to it whatsoever, which means that it just sucks down right to your body. Now, if you were to put in like an offset in here or something like that, that would of course make it a little bit thicker. You would get better ventilation, but because it is so thin and it doesn't have any like form to it whatsoever, again, it's a very, very soft material, it's just going to hug straight to your body and you are going to sweat a lot. So I don't really, if you look at this and you're like, oh, I live in a hot environment, all this mesh in the back is going to breathe great, it doesn't actually breathe that great. So you will need something else in here to offset it to get additional airflow in there if you didn't just want to sweat all day long. Again, depending on your environment, for some people it won't matter at all, for some people it will be very, very important. Now, of course, no plate carrier is complete without plates, so this uses a very simple, very tried and true method of retaining the plates. This is a Battle Steel level 4 plate. Watch Buffman Range's video on these. He does a great video breakdown of how good these actually are. But basically what we have without that in there is, again, just very, very soft. There's no form to the back whatsoever. So, and because this material in the back here is very thin, it doesn't really breathe whatsoever. So you're going to need something else in there. But basically you have Velcro on the bottom, you wrap it around the plate, very, very tight to the top, and then it's secured in there. I've never had any issues with it whatsoever. Now, as far as the plate bag actually goes, it is a very universal fit, which means that it's generally speaking not a very tight fit. So that means you have a lot of extra material in the top and left and right corners. That way there it can accommodate slightly taller, different profile plates. I have a 10 by 12. I believe it's a single curve plate in here right now. It fits great. It does just have a little bit of extra room. So if that's something that bothers you, if you want a plate that just fits perfectly, I believe they have some other plates on their website or some other reviews and recommendations of plates that fit absolutely perfectly in here. However, the ones that I do just have a little bit of that extra material up top. Now, moving on to the back panel, we basically have the identical setup. It's a very simple, soft mesh setup. Doesn't really breathe all that well, doesn't really provide any cushion or comfort because it is such a soft material. So we really don't need to talk about that because, again, it's basically identical to the front. We also have, again, Hypalon straps that attach to our front straps. And then we get to the very simple back panel, which is basically bare except for a little bit of Velcro up top to attach patches or whatever else you want to Velcro up there. Now, I do not recommend taking this plate carrier and trying to mod it out to be something that it's not. If you really like this plate carrier for some reason and you really want to expand it out, you're going to need additional supplemental gear like a backpack or something else and just throw that on the back rather than trying to attach more to the plate carrier itself. So just keep that in mind. If you want a plate carrier that carries stuff for 24, 48, or whatever, name your amount of hours, this is not going to be the plate carrier for you, which is why, again, I refer to this as the lightweight plate carrier. Now, I did not take the cummerbund out just because it's really annoying to get the Velcro on and off, and it is quite strong Velcro, so I don't have any problems with that whatsoever. But as you can see, it is Velcroed on the back, and then it has a panel that comes over top and then locks it in place. On top of that, this is a like 70% or so the stretchy material, and then the actual magazine pockets or accessory pockets are mostly rigid and then with a little bit of give in them. So they are slightly oversized for 5.56 magazines. So anything that is 5.56 magazines or slightly larger can fit in here. You're not going to fit anything like 308 mags or anything else like that. So here now we have the plate carrier on, of course, and it is very simple, very easy to get on and off. Now, one thing about this plate carrier is you will notice I do have the shoulder straps installed. The problem with the shoulder straps is they're not very low profile. So even though they call it low vis, if you actually do want to make it low vis, you actually need to cut off the back drag handle, which does work just fine, and then need to remove the shoulder pads. The problem with that is that it's very uncomfortable without the shoulder pads. So I don't think it's a true low vis plate carrier. I think that they make a lot better true low vis style plate carriers that are very, very slick, very minimalistic on the market. This is a little bit more than that. It's a little bit more flexible, but again, that makes it a little bit worse at being a low vis plate carrier. I think like the AC1 and some other stuff that are on the market are going to do a better job of that. For me, this is a lightweight plate carrier. While I have harped on some of the bad sides about the plate carrier, it is very, very lightweight. Because it is very light materials and a little bit of laser cut MOLLE up front, you get a plate carrier that weighs a whopping 20 ounces versus the 32 ounces of the, or around that range, again, plus or minus a few ounces on the LAPG Atlas. So that is a very, very lightweight base setup, and in fact, with two level 4 plates, front and back, at 13 pounds, plus 3 mags, I think you're under 20 pounds, plus the accessory stuff that I have in here right now, you're under 20 pounds for a complete loadout, again, of this plate carrier. So you might be asking yourself, what is a plate carrier like this actually good for? You know, since it's not really a plate carrier that's designed to carry 30, 40 pounds worth of gear at one time, and it's not really a low vis plate carrier, so then is it kind of in the sweet spot for a do-it-all plate carrier? Now, the answer is, first off, no, it's not a good do-it-all plate carrier. The Atlas is actually a much better version of that, just because it does have laser cut MOLLE basically everywhere with more comfortable padding, with more comfortable shoulder pads, and still, while again not being crazy heavy at only 32 ounces, which is fairly lightweight for a big plate carrier like that can basically be built out to do just about anything. This one here is going to fall more on the lightweight, quick kind of setup, I suppose you could say. Recently, I actually had a very good use case scenario for this plate carrier. It was basically set up exactly as you see it, minus the 7.62x39 mags. I actually had 5.56 mags, but I recently went on a road trip that was a little bit under 4,000 miles, and I actually had this plate carrier loaded up in a bag, ready to go, basically set up exactly like you see it the entire time. Now, because it's not really a bulky or big plate carrier and it folds down very, very small, basically just as large as the plates are, it makes it very, very easy to conceal. So again, and it's very quick to get on, it's very easy to adjust. You have very nice Velcro up front, and then you have the very nice flexible waistband that really hugs to your body, whatever sort of shape or size you are. It's going to be very quick, very easy, and very comfy in that regard. Now, some of the other downsides that I've gotten into on this plate carrier, are that if you try to make it low vis, like taking off the shoulder pad so it doesn't print, or the drag handle, it's really not very comfortable. And on top of that, it doesn't breathe really well. So if you want it to breathe better, you're going to need to put in some sort of inserts that then make it a little bit more bulky. And then if you're going to be doing that, you might just start with a plate carrier that fits your needs a little bit better to begin with, rather than taking a smaller plate carrier and attempting to make it more comfortable, more able to carry more gear, that sort of thing. You might as well just start with a plate carrier that can just do those things. But for anything for a lightweight scenario, or again, whatever you can think of in your mind that doesn't necessarily need to be days and days on end, this can be a really good plate carrier. And it's held up very, very well, again, for me in all of the shooting and all of the range days that I have had with it. I've had no problems with it whatsoever in terms of its functionality. You just have to figure out if what it does is something that you actually want. Now, on top of that, this plate carrier is also ready to go for me basically 100% of the time. Just because if I had to choose a plate carrier to get on, it would probably be this one, because it does carry enough gear for me in like 99.9% of scenarios that you could think of. On top of that, it's a little easier to get on, it's a little faster, it's a little more flexible, it's less bulky. Again, it is a little bit lighter weight, and it still provides, of course, the main function of a plate carrier, which is carrying plates and then all of your accessories on top of it. Now, if I needed something, I just needed more gear, I would have to go with something else. So if you're in the market for a budget do-it-all plate carrier, I don't really recommend the LAPG low vis for that role. But if you're looking for something a little bit smaller, lighter, flexible, not in terms of what you can do with it, but in terms of actual design, then I would go with the low vis or their lightweight plate carrier. Again, if you don't think you're ever going to need a lot more gear. Now, if you're thinking, oh, well, I should just buy both. I should buy the Atlas for more gear, and I should buy the low vis for more lightweight situations. Well, the answer to that is actually also no, because if you want to do that, you should probably just buy a plate carrier for, you know, a couple $100 that's going to fill the role that both of these do, and is a little bit more flexible, higher quality, better materials, better technology, that sort of thing. If you're going to buy one of these, I would buy one or the other. I definitely wouldn't buy both, even though of course I own both, but I do reviews and stuff, so I don't really recommend people do exactly what I do, because I also have a channel and a business to run, and what I do doesn't always necessarily make the most financial sense. So overall, for me, I do really like the LAPG low vis, which is why I've continued to use it for about 9 months now. I've made a couple of videos on it on top of the Atlas, which I still use. The Atlas is still much more comfortable than the low vis, but again, usually I'm not carrying all that much gear when I'm LARPing on the range, so this works absolutely perfect for me. Now, on top of that, this does function basically 100% as intended. However, you need to make that choice as to whether or not you like the function that it's designed to do. So that's about it for me, guys. I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know what you guys think of this plate carrier or any other plate carrier that I should check out in the future. And that's about it from me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace off.